Hello everyone, I am Kim Trathen, business and marketing coach, and this is segment 10 of the Girls Talk Business series. So I'm going to wait just a minute here. Today's guest should be coming on in just a minute. I'm going to wait to see her drop a comment, and I'm also going to see if I can share this to my personal page. So today's guest is Cherie Cox, and Cherie is a super inspiring woman. And it looks like she just hopped on. Cherie, I'm going to go ahead and invite you. I already see that you're there before you even dropped a comment this time. Sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. Hey, girl. All right, I am adding. You should have a notification that something about I'm trying to bring you on the camera, and you just need to accept that. And it should show split screen. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. I just always like to make sure, especially I didn't think to put my earbuds in, so I wanted to make sure you could hear me all right.
Hear you.
I'm so excited to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. So I was just going to get into the introduction here.
Yeah.
You're my guest today, and I was just starting to say that you've had a really inspiring life and a really inspiring career that you've formed out of some tragedy, some hardship, as I think we've seen most weeks with the guests. Nobody seems to just have an easy road of where they've gotten to today, whether they've already launched a business or they haven't. Life is full of twists and turns and the good and the bad, and we kind of take it all there. For anybody that is joining us live, please drop a comment so that we know that you're on. Hi, Steph. I see Steph is here. If anybody else catches the replay, please, make a comment. Let us know that you caught the replay. Any comments that are made during the replay, I'm sure Cherie will go back through too. We will go back and we'll make sure to respond to everyone. Cherie, where do you live? Where are you located?
I'm in Toronto.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
So I'm in Michigan in the U.S. Anybody watching, drop where you're watching from. I love to see how far these segments go. I think I say that every time, but it's super exciting to me to see around the world where people tune in from. And I love to see kind of the reach that the videos make.
I know it is really amazing just with technology nowadays, how even just us connecting that we're in different places, but we're here right now having this talk.
I know, it is absolutely, there's kind of like with life, there's good and bad. With the internet, with technology, there's good and bad. And this is one of the most amazing things to me of connecting with women that are literally around the world from each other. And here we are. We can see each other. We can have a conversation together. We can connect with other women out there. Like, it truly is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So it looks like Steph is watching from the UK. I did know that about you.
Oh, nice.
I remember.
Hi, Steph.
So Cherie, can you talk a little bit first about what you actually do and how you help and I think it's just women that you work with. Do you work with men also, or is it just women?
Just women.
Yes. So can you talk a little bit about what you do and how you help these women?
Definitely. So I empower women to love themselves and their life. So a lot of that is releasing the past, releasing our story, and really connecting with our self-love, our self-worth, clearing out that inner clutter. And I like to say, glowing from the inside out.
Oh, I love that.
When we really start to love ourselves fully and completely, when we glow from the inside out, that's when our outside world really starts to change. So what I do when I'm working with women is I work with them in 3 different ways. And one of them is mindset. So our mindset is huge. What are we saying to ourselves? What stories are we telling ourselves? So really creating an uplifting, positive, loving mindset on top of energy healing. So I use Reiki, so clearing our energy and raising our vibration, and then taking action. No matter what we're doing, we have to take action. So putting those 3 together, that's when I like to call it magic. Those 3 tools together.
And I think, and especially adding in, it sounds so basic to say that you have to take action, but there are so many people that have dreams and plans, but then they never do anything to achieve those dreams or to make those
Definitely.
plans happen. And then they just, it's like they live in this constant state of someday. Someday I'm going to
Yes.
do this. Someday I'm going to conquer that. Someday I'm going to launch this, start this, write this, share this, whatever,
Yep.
whatever it is. And they never actually end up taking the action to make progress. So that's, again, it sounds
Absolutely.
so basic, but it is a struggle a lot of times for a lot of people. So that's amazing. I'm really excited to chat with you today. And you have a really, really personal story with your mom. Can you kind of share some of that, kind of what your journey looked like, who you used to be, and then what happened during that darker time and what brought you to where you are now?
Definitely. So for me, throughout my life, I remember little magical moments happening around me, but I never fully paid attention. It was one of those things that would kind of go in one ear and out the other. And I'm from Ontario, but I was living out west in Vancouver. I was there for 11 years, and I moved back. And 6 months after I moved back, I'm just going to clear this. 6 months after I moved back, my mom was diagnosed with cancer. And we knew what the outcome was going to be. So, literally, in that instant, I was in a state of fear, worry, sadness, and I didn't know how to deal with it. So, I would be walking to a client's place and tears would be streaming down my face the whole
Oh,
time. But then when I got there, it was game face on. So from the outside, unless you knew me really well, you wouldn't
mm-hmm.
really know what was going on. But inside, I was breaking down. I was starting to crumble. And I was really noticing that in my thoughts, in the way I felt.
So did
And
you, when you say to a client's house, did you already have your business launched at that time? Was that your own business and your own clients that you were meeting with?
so that before I started just working with clients on a one-on-one basis, empowering them to love themselves and their life, I actually, how it all started was I actually used to help clients organize their space. So I would
Okay.
actually go into their space and help them create spaces that were organized, function, and flowed. And so I would be going to a client's space and just inside crumbling. And that's when I really said no more. Like, I don't want to fall apart. I also wanted to be there for my mom. I wanted to be strong for her. And that's when I really started to create, I'll say, a mindfulness practice. So I really started to dive into meditation, journaling, focusing on gratitude. And in that space, even though when I started to look within, it wasn't always, I'll say, pretty what I saw, but there was so much growth that came out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, I started doing small little talks, helping women with tools that they could use to create organization inside ourselves. And that's how really this journey began for me. And my mom was diagnosed with cancer, and then it was just over a year after she was diagnosed that she passed away. And I found that in a dark place, I chose to find light. And in that sadness, I created a space for happiness
Mm-hmm.
and not live in that fear, in that worry that what I was going through, what my mom was going through, what our family was going through, not living in that fearful, dark place.
Yes. I know my dad recently passed away on the 4th of July.
I'm
And
sorry to hear.
thank you. Um, I've had people say to me, I don't know if you saw it, I wrote an article about grieving the death of an emotionally distant parent.
Yeah, I did see
And
it.
I immediately called a therapist and got myself into therapy. And I've had
Mm-hmm.
people say to me, I don't know how you could do that. Other people that have lost a parent. And for me, Journaling is very therapeutic, which is what led to me writing that article, because it just like I had to get these feelings out, and I just felt so called to share that article and share that information and let people know that just because your relationship looked different didn't mean wasn't horrible loss and horrible grief. But I also immediately called to get in with a therapist because I didn't want to stay stuck in that horrible anger, fear, dark place. And for me,
Definitely.
talking it out with somebody was part of what I needed. And I think my real drive
Yes.
to do those things was out of this deep-seated need to not stay stuck emotionally. I couldn't imagine sitting in that exact same emotional state for 6 months or a year or 2 years. That fear of getting stuck in that dark place is what really motivated me to like, I need to address these feelings head on, because I can't stay stuck here. And journaling is so powerful for me. Do you still journal? Are you still a proponent of that?
Yes, but for me,
did I lose?
I don't necessarily journal every. Oh, are we good? It is storming out right now.
Is that it?
We're good. Yeah,
for
it
a
is.
minute, but I think we're okay.
Oh my gosh, it is. Okay, it's storming out right now. Okay, sorry. What were you saying?
Do you still journal? Are you still into journaling?
Oh, you're cut out there a little bit.
Okay, how about now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Uh-oh. Okay, so do you still journal, or do you not
Can you see me
anymore? I can see you.
You know what?
Can you see me?
Journaling, I can see you, yeah.
Okay, good.
You're good? You can see me and
I'm
hear
good.
me? Okay.
And I think we have a
With
delay,
journaling,
but I can see you and hear you.
Okay, I know, because it keeps freezing a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Are we good?
We're good. Let's hope for the best. With journaling, you know, I still do journal, but for me, a daily practice for me is gratitude journaling. So every morning when I wake up, I have my morning meditation, and I always write 5 things that I'm grateful for, and then set an intention for the day. But definitely, for sure, I still journal. I love it. I think it's a really good way to get our thoughts out and not live in our head. I find when we live in our head, it's not necessarily good. It's very important to let it out and clear it away.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Oh, thank you. Steph said there is a delay between us, but the video and audio are working fine. Excellent.
Okay, good.
Oh, yes. And Jennifer, we just had coffee the other week, and we shared our love for journaling with each other. I love, Cherie, that you start with, was it 5 things that you said in your gratitude journaling? 5 things daily. What a great practice to implement. I love journaling. I also don't do it every day. I go through phases, but I find that I have great intentions of journaling daily. It just doesn't always happen for me. So I love that you have such a built-in practice for your mornings. Oh, that is awesome. So after about a year of your mom being sick is when she passed away then, and you started to move into this different space?
Well, it was really when she was sick that I started really sort of getting into that practice. So before she passed away, I had really started getting into mindfulness, really working on clearing my inner clutter so I could be here and present.
Yes. Oh, it's so powerful. So how long has it been since your mom passed?
She passed away the end of November 2015.
Okay. Wow. And so how many clients do you serve at a time?
It varies, but so I work with clients over a 5-week period. And when I'm working with them, it is very one-on-one. It is very focused. So at a time, I try not to take on more than 10 clients at a time
Okay.
and really
Yeah.
put my focus into them.
Yes. Oh, that's awesome. And is it a weekly call that you do with your clients, or how does that work?
So how it works is it's over 5 weeks. Once a week, we have a weekly call. They have daily exercises that they have morning and in the evening. I send them, I'll say, morning motivation every single morning. They have full access to me over email. If they need to speak throughout the week, I'm there for them. But we have that 1 hour main call before we start working together. So because a huge part of what I do is also energy healing and really clearing our energetic field, our aura. Before we start working together, we do a distance Reiki treatment. And then at the end of the 5 weeks working together, I also do a distance Reiki treatment for them.
Okay. So, can we touch a minute on how you shifted from doing organizing their space to kind of organizing what's going on internally? Because I think a lot of women, when they start their businesses, they get very locked into their original idea. And it can be hard for people to
Mm-hmm.
think of pivoting in their business mold or even doing a complete 180 on what they were planning to offer. Was that a struggle for you, or did it happen naturally? I'm curious what that process was like for you of making that pivot in your business.
I would say it happened naturally, but it was a bit of a struggle. And I would say I was that struggle because I had been working with clients organizing their space. And then my mom got sick. And that's when I started really digging deep within me. And when we start to look within, again, what we see, it isn't always pretty, but when we work through it, it's amazing what is within. All the love, the self-acceptance, everything is there. All of the answers are within. So when I started doing these small little talks with women about tools that we can use to create organization inside ourselves, I had a website up and running, and I had hired last year, I'd hired a copywriter to help with my content. And we were emailing back and forth. And at the end of the email, I said to her, my long-term goal is to just work with women one-on-one. My true passion is like, we are here as the person we are for a reason. We've been gifted with this life as the person we are for a reason. And that in itself is so amazing. And so often we fill ourselves with doubt. And I realize that my passion, my purpose really shines when I'm talking to clients about this, when I'm working with clients about this. So when I had said to the woman, my copywriter, that this is my long-term goal, I sort of realized in that moment, well, why isn't it my goal now? If that's what I want to do, if that's the
Yes.
direction I want to go in, why don't I take action now and do it now rather than wait, you know, a year or 5 years or something? So for me, that was a huge turning point for me personally and my business. And I think, I had some fear around it because I had been organizing, and, there's that worry of, well, will people accept what I'm doing? But the reality is, as long as you love what you're doing, as long as you accept what you're doing, then those soul clients will come to you.
Yes. And I think there's a lot of fear too, even if you're not pivoting in your business, but when you're
Mm-hmm.
first starting out, there's so much fear when you're a new entrepreneur. There's a fear of telling your partner, your spouse, your friends,
Yes.
your parents. You know, a lot of people may not understand your vision and your dream and your goals and what you can see as your future being. And it's really hard sometimes when you have maybe not the most encouraging responses. And I think a lot of times those people come from a place of love because they're worried that you've lost your mind. But
Yeah.
it can be it, it can be really scary to share those dreams, whether you're just starting out or if you're pivoting. It can be scary what clients might think, you know, whoever it is. I think there's a
Definitely.
lot of fear around that.
There is for
Yes.
sure a lot of fear around that. And I was just gonna say, I think that, but it comes back to yourself and letting go of those fears of what other people will think and really following what is true to you and what will make you happy.
Definitely. Yes, definitely. I think it all comes back to that mindset, like you talked about, because when you're in that mindset that you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not valuable enough, you know, I'm not someone who can be an entrepreneur. It's that person over there that can do it. And when that's your mindset,
Yes.
and then you have the naysayers that are telling you why your dream won't work, it's really easy to succumb to that because you're not mentally where you need to be to really be confident in who you are and your vision, your dreams, and your goals.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, there's sometimes that
So,
element of comparison.
yes, yes.
Which is not a good
So do you
thing.
mind sharing? I don't know if this is too much for you, and you can say if it's too much. Do you mind sharing what some of the other fears or, you know, some of those, whether it was issues from your childhood or low self-esteem, like what have been some of the things that you've had to personally work through? What some of the internal struggles that you had?
For me, one of the biggest struggles that I had was fully loving myself and knowing my worth. And so it was interesting because when my mom was sick and I really started to get into meditation, I was in a meditation one night and I already knew that I was in a bit of a negative pattern with people, or I'll say men, that I had in my life. And I knew that I wasn't showing up for myself the way that I fully wanted to, and they weren't at that time either. And I was in a meditation and I just saw it so clearly, and tears started streaming down my face. And I realized that, so my parents were divorced when I was 4. My
Oh,
dad
wow.
left my mom, and he moved to the States. He was remarried, moved to the US, I'm going to say when I was about 6. And then my older brother ended up moving to the US when I was about 11 or 12. And I realized in that moment that the 2 most important men in my life had left me. And as an adult, I understand why. And I am okay that they left. I think that they should have left. But as that, I'll say, little me didn't understand why they left. And so now when I look back, I really realize that a lot of insecurities and self-doubt stemmed from that place. So there was a lot of healing that needed to be done around that, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Those childhood experiences, they really stay with us through adulthood and how we interact, how we run our own families, our relationships with friends. And sometimes those messages are really easy to identify. And I think other times it takes quite a bit of digging to figure out why we feel certain ways or why we have certain connections or attachments to things. But
Definitely.
those childhood messages really imprint us.
And it was one of those things that, again, as an adult, I see why. So I really did have to clear away how I felt for so long as a child. But I also made the decision I didn't want to live in that headspace. I didn't want to live in that space anymore of feeling like I wasn't lovable and that I wasn't worthy. So it's all about, we all have a past, we all have experiences, but choosing to not live in them, choosing to let go, to release them, and move forward.
Yes, that being able to move forward, I think, is so critical because it is just really easy to get stuck in different stages of life, different emotions, stuck in a job. Being able to move forward in all aspects of your
Yes.
life can be really difficult to do, but with work, it can be done.
Yes,
Wow. So that's,
definitely.
yeah, you had to work through quite a bit, it sounds like, over the years. You had to work through quite a bit of emotions, thoughts, mindset, confidence, all of it.
Definitely. And it's in healing that I've found strength, which, sometimes past experiences or traumatic experiences, we don't want to face them, we avoid them. But I truly believe it's so important to sit in them and heal them. And it's in that healing space that we will find strength.
Oh, I love that. That's so beautiful. So I would love to. Are you ready to share your top 2 tips for other aspiring female entrepreneurs?
Definitely. Above all, I really would say for anyone wanting to start their business or has started their business, before I get into the tips, is love what you do. Hands
Yes.
down, love what you do, have that passion for it, and have that drive. You definitely need that. And then my 2 tips would be, back to mindset. I think when you're starting a new business, adventure, journey, there can be that fear and that worry around what is going to happen. Will I get clients? Am I going to make money? But don't get lost in that headspace. It's so important when you're starting your business to keep your mindset, to keep your headspace high. Keep it in an uplifting, positive, creative mindset. And then my
Yes. I
second
love
one
that.
would, it's so important. And especially, I think often a lot of us are working from home and we're working alone. So we can get a little bit lost in that headspace. Maybe you can get confused, but keeping those vibrations high, keeping your mindset high. And then also share
Yeah.
your gifts. I think that was a big struggle for me, is being visible. But it's huge. It's so important to share your gifts, share whatever you're doing, get out there and be visible. Share, share, share.
Yes. I love that. I love that. And I think so often aspiring entrepreneurs, and even people that have been in business for maybe a little bit, they've already launched, there can be a lot of fear over selling their services because they don't want to be pushy. They don't want to, sell something to somebody that doesn't need it. And instead, if they just think about, they're just sharing their gifts, sharing their talents, sharing their skills,
Yes.
and they are helping these people that need their help. And it's a two-way, it's a give and a take, and you're sharing your services and they're paying you for it. It doesn't have to feel sleazy and slimy. You don't try to sell somebody something they don't need, but if you're truly coming from a place of love, coming from your heart, and
Yes.
sharing your gifts with people who need it, it shouldn't feel sleazy and slimy. You are truly helping them.
Absolutely. And that's why when you love what you do, when you have that passion, it's going to come from that heart-centered place. It's going to come from an authentic space.
Yes, yes, those are two fantastic tips. I love them, and thank you so much for sharing that.
You're
To wrap
welcome.
up, this segment of Girls Talk Business, you have an exciting offer that you wanted to make available to the viewers of this segment. Would you like to share that now?
Yes, definitely. Well, I first off want to say that I think it's really amazing what you are doing and creating this platform for women to share their stories and help inspire others. Because I truly think that we all have a story and we all have a story to share. And it's in maybe something little that someone shares or says that really can motivate and inspire someone else. So I think it's really great what you're doing, and definitely thank you so much
Aw.
for having me. And my offer is, because I have my 5-week program that I offer, it's called Ignite Your Soul. And in addition to that, I offer distance Reiki treatments. So I would love to offer any of the viewers that are watching 3 distance Reiki treatments for $111 Canadian.
Awesome. That is such an amazing offering of you. Thank you so much.
Thank
For
you.
anybody that is catching this live or catches the replay, I will be sharing all of Cherie's contact information. I'll update the post with the live once we wrap this up today. And you can get a hold of her through social media. Cherie, how long is that offer valid for? Because these videos stay up. So in case anybody catches this down the road, what is the cutoff date for the offer?
I was going to say until the end of August.
Perfect.
So the
Perfect.
end of
That
August.
is wonderful. Yes, that is wonderful. Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
Cherie, I'll shoot you a message after this and make sure I have the details of the offer correct, and then we'll
Yes.
get all that clear and straight on there. And anybody who's catching the replay, please feel free to share with us your story of whether you've already launched your business or you're thinking of launching. If you've had to work through any internal mindset issues, messages that you received as a child or as an adult, if you feel comfortable sharing it, we would love to hear about your journey as well. And Cherie, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you. And hopefully you didn't freeze too much.
I feel like we just had to wait for these pauses in between, but that is the nature of Facebook Live. There are, I think, so this is segment 10. I bet you maybe even 4 of them we've had technology issues. My guess is it's your storm that you're having there, and it probably interrupts the Wi-Fi.
It's, you know what?
There's
and the
often
storm is
something
starting to clear now. Yeah, definitely.
Of course. Well, thank you again, and thank you to everybody that watched live. If you're catching the replay, we look forward to hearing from you. And thank you, Cherie. Thank you for coming on, and have a wonderful night tonight.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you,
Yes.
thank you.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye. I'll see you soon.